Discovered, how one heartwarming encounter with a stable boy changed her life forever. Romance. Emma stood at the edge of the colorful chaos of the Harvest Festival, her heart heavy with the weight of expectations. The brilliant hues of autumn leaves and the scent of caramel apples wrapped around her like a warm blanket, yet she felt the chill of her reality creeping in. With her mother working double shifts just to pay the bills, the idea of college felt more like a fantasy than a future. The laughter of her classmates reverberated through the air, a stark reminder of the dream she thought she had abandoned. Then she saw him. Jake, with his sun-kissed hair and gentle brown eyes, was laughing as he helped a group of kids around the petting zoo. It was in that moment, with his easy smile and genuine spirit, that Emma felt a flicker of warmth in her chest, like the first rays of sun after a storm. They had met before at school, but today, amidst the vibrant festivities, it felt different. Electric. "Hey, do you like horses?" he asked with a grin, and Emma found herself laughing in response, a sound she had almost forgotten. They talked about the horses he cared for at his family's stable, the salty tang of hay and the sweet musk of leather filling her senses as he spoke. With each shared moment, the burdens within her began to ease, the worries of home and her mother's exhaustion faded like mist. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Over the following weeks, their connection blossomed amidst the whirlwind of the festival's aftermath. Jake's stories about his veteran grandfather taught Emma about perseverance and hard work. Those words stirred something deep within her, like a long-dormant dream waking up. For the first time, she considered entering the scholarship competition, a leap into the unknown that felt terrifyingly exhilarating, but just as she found her footing, insecurities took root. The whispers of judgment from classmates echoed around her, their eyes heavy with preconceived notions, and a sudden, painful misunderstanding with Jake shattered the fragile hope she had built. When she stormed away from him, confusion and hurt clouded her heart, leaving her feeling utterly alone. Days slipped by like grains of sand, each one heavier than the last. Emma struggled with the weight of her family's needs pressing down on her, the fear that she wasn't enough to break free from their cycle of sacrifice. And yet, beneath that stormy surface, the flicker of resilience still burned. Jake, too, grieved the loss of their laughter, pacing the stables as he wrestled with his emotions. As the Harvest Festival approached again, the air buzzed with nostalgia. Emma's heart raced at the thought of seeing Jake. She couldn't help but wonder if they would find their way back to each other, amidst the buzz of the festival and the pull of their dreams. Would she have the courage to face him and herself, to redefine what was possible? Time felt like it was standing still, and all Emma knew was that she was at a crossroads, her future hanging in the balance. Could love truly stir the hopes that lay suffocated under the weight of expectation? As their paths intertwined once more, the question lingered: would they fight for their dreams together, or let the world outside dictate their destiny? The night before the Harvest Festival arrived, and Emma couldn't sleep. The vibrant festival lights twinkled in her imagination, promising laughter, warmth, and perhaps reconciliation. She tossed and turned in her bed, visions of Jake dancing through her mind. His laughter, his smile, everything felt like a promise of brighter days ahead, yet fear gripped her. What if things were too broken for them to fix? With a sigh, she pulled herself out of bed and crept to the kitchen. The quiet of the house enveloped her like a hug. She poured herself a glass of orange juice, relishing the zesty sweetness and the moment of solitude before the chaos of the festival would begin. Sitting at the table, she considered her plans for the day. Would Jake be waiting for her? Would they just slip back into their easy banter, or would the weight of their last encounter linger like a dark cloud? Morning light spilled into the room, gradually breaking through the veil of her uncertainty. Emma decided to push those fears aside. If Jake mattered to her, confronting him was essential. It was time to acknowledge the ache that was gnawing at her heart. She would wear her favorite sweater, the one that always made her feel a little more confident, and hoped that a cute outfit might help bridge the chasm that had opened up between them. As she strolled into the festival later that day, excitement mixed with anxiety twisted in her stomach. The air buzzed with festival attendees eagerly munching on delicious treats, their laughs blending into a sweet melody of life unfurling. Emma's heart raced when she spotted Jake, standing by a booth, bright-eyed, with that inviting grin she had missed. Goosebumps danced across her skin as he caught her gaze. For a fleeting moment, time paused. The distance between them felt enormous yet tempting, pulling her closer. But doubt crept in. A voice whispered that maybe he wouldn't feel as she did. Would she find acceptance or fear rejection? "Hey, Emma." Jake waved, his voice cutting through the noise, filled with the thrill of connection. Emma's heart fluttered, her feet moving before her mind could process. She approached him, the familiar rhythm of her heartbeat drumming loudly in her ears. "Hi, Jake," she said, forcing a smile despite the anxiety curling in her stomach. "Are you ready for the pie-eating contest?" He chuckled, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Only if you participate with me." She shot back, surprising herself with the challenge. What had been mere hope was now morphing into an invitation to break the silence between them. "What essay contest without a worthy opponent?" he replied, stepping closer. The gleam in his eyes reignited something within her, a small spark of belief, radiating warmth. As they exchanged playful banter, the barriers of their misunderstanding began to crumble, laughter flowing between them like water over stones. Emma felt lighter, almost weightless, as if the burdens she carried were lifting, letting the sun's warmth brighten her heart. But just as the ambience felt perfect, tension dampened her spirits again. Their classmates were nearby, whispering, judging, and Emma's insecurities swelled like a balloon filled with doubt. She glanced over her shoulder, afraid of their scrutiny. "Hey, I've got an idea. Let us go see the horses," Jake suggested, his enthusiasm cutting through her anxiety. "Really?" she echoed, surprised by the invitation. Maybe the warmth of the stables could remind her of why she'd even entertained the thought of leaving. "Yeah. My family's stables have never looked better. You'll love it, I promise." As they ventured toward the stables, the golden hues of the setting sun bathed the path, illuminating their way and her flickering hopes. Could this journey towards the horses lead her back to him? Would they find the words unspoken between them among the hay and leather that smelled of home? Emma's heart raced with uncertainty, yet the thrill of potential pulsed through her veins. Just as the stables came into view, her heart dropped at the memory of bitter words spoken. Would she be brave enough to acknowledge the hurt? And in this moment of possibility, would it be enough to overcome everything that had been lost? As they reached the wooden doors, Emma hesitated for a breath, wondering if this would be the moment that changed everything or if fear would keep them both tethered to the past. Emma stood before the wooden doors, her breath hitching as she felt the weight of unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. Jake paused beside her, glancing sideways, a flicker of concern in his eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice gentle, slicing through her wavering resolve. "Yeah, I'm not sure how to start," Emma admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake nodded, understanding flickering across his face. "We don't have to rush. It's good just to be here, right?" He reached for the door and pushed it open, revealing the warm, inviting scent of hay and horses. It smelled like home, a safe place where memories of laughter once danced lightly around her. As they stepped inside, the sun's light streamed through the slats in the wooden barn, casting a soft glow on the scattered bales of hay and the gentle giants grazing in their stalls. It was quiet here, a stark contrast to the festival outside, where laughter and music had been so loud. "Look at this one," Jake said, leading her to a chestnut mare with soft, expressive eyes. The horse nickered softly, stepping closer, almost as if she sensed the tension between them. Emma calmed the fluttering in her chest by reaching out to stroke the mare's neck. "She's beautiful," Emma breathed, feeling a rush of warmth wash over her, the softness of the horse's coat reassuring. "Her name's Bella. She loves attention," Jake said, watching her with a look that seemed to mix admiration and something else she couldn't quite read. You could ride her if you wanted. Just like old times. The innocent offer tugged at Emma's heart, and for a moment, childhood memories flooded her mind, carefree days spent riding through fields, the wind in her hair, and smiles that felt genuinely free. But just as quickly, she felt the burden of their fractured past loom over her. Old times, she echoed, the weight of it all pulling her back. Do you think we can really go back to that? Jake's expression shifted, and he took a step closer, his voice serious now. I'm not sure we can go back, Emma. But maybe we can find a way forward. His honesty struck a chord within her, and she turned to face him fully, searching his eyes for answers. What if I've messed everything up too much? What if— Stop, he interrupted gently but firmly. You're not messing anything up by just being here. The sincerity in his voice cracked something inside her, and for a moment, she felt anchored, like maybe they could navigate through this tangled mess of emotions together. She wanted that, desired it fiercely, but a pang of uncertainty lingered. I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, she confessed, vulnerability spilling over her carefully crafted walls. What if I step forward and fall? Jake's gaze bore into hers, affirming. Then at least you won't fall alone. I'll be there with you. A shiver ran down her spine, the warmth of his words washing over her. The storm of doubt in her heart eased for the briefest of moments, and she found a flicker of hope lighting the way, but then a distant shout from the festival shattered the stillness, drawing her attention back to the world outside. She could hear the raucous laughter, the cheers, reminders of everything that had felt so easy just hours before. Suddenly, the weight of their past loomed larger than before. Can we talk about us? Like really talk? Emma asked suddenly, the question hanging between them like a fragile thread. Jake looked at her, his eyes wide, as if he'd been holding his breath too. Yes. Let us do that. Just as she started to open her mouth, eager to spill everything she had kept locked away, a loud crash echoed from the yard outside, marking an abrupt end to their moment. What was that? Emma asked, her heart racing as she took a step toward the door. I don't know. Let us check it out, Jake said, urgency creeping into his voice. Together they dashed to the entrance, the warmth of the stables left behind. As they stepped out into the chilly evening, what they found would change everything. But little did they know, revelations awaited them that day, and amidst the chaos, an unexpected truth would surface from the shadows. Would it strengthen their bond or shatter it altogether? As they burst through the barn doors, the chilly evening air hit Emma like a slap. The sounds from the festival turned erratic, a mix of excited chatter and nervous laughter, but there was an undercurrent of chaos she could feel shifting the atmosphere. Over there. Jake pointed toward a cluster of people gathered near the food stands. Emma's heart raced, a mix of fear and concern swelling within her. They pushed their way through the crowd, each step heavy with anticipation. Except for a few scattered murmurs, the laughter had faded, replaced by an anxious energy that hung thick in the air. When they reached the front, Emma's stomach dropped. A young boy, maybe 11 or 12, was sprawled on the ground, clutching his ankle, tears streaming down his face as his friends hovered around him, worry etched on their small features. What happened? Jake asked, kneeling beside the boy. Emma felt her heart aching for the kid, so close to home yet so vulnerable. I fell, the stand tipped over. He sobbed, gesturing to a nearby table covered with piles of what looked like cotton candy and cookies, now scattered on the ground. Without thinking, Emma knelt down beside Jake, instinctively reaching for the boy's hand. Hey, it's okay. You're going to be all right. Can you wiggle your toes for me? The boy sniffled but managed a nod, his gaze darting between Emma and Jake, looking for reassurance. Just focus on me, she said, her voice soft but steady. You didn't do anything wrong. Accidents happen. She squeezed his hand lightly, wincing at the dampness from his tears. The situation seemed to shift slightly as Jake spoke to the nearest adult, finding someone to help. Emma focused entirely on the boy, feeling the warmth of his tiny hand in hers. I can't feel my foot," he stammered, his voice trembling with fear. With a gentle smile, Emma kept her tone light. "Sometimes it just takes a little time for things to feel better. How about we count to 10 and see how you feel?" At first, he didn't respond, but slowly he found his breath, and they started counting together, voice by voice. A few numbers later, his tears began to slow, and Emma's heart swelled with hope. "See? You're doing great," she encouraged, ready to provide support when the medics arrived. Jake returned, and she noticed the tight lines of worry around his mouth begin to ease a bit. "They'll be here any second," he said, his gaze holding hers for just a moment longer. In that brief connection, an understanding passed between them, a shared commitment in the midst of chaos. The boy finally smiled through his tears. I think I can wiggle them," he whispered with newfound strength. "See? We're on our way to recovery," Emma cheered, trying to lighten the mood. The crowd began to ease back, releasing some of its tension as the boy's friends chuckled nervously, grateful for the distraction from worry. Just then, sirens could be heard approaching in the distance. The festival atmosphere resumed to its usual buzz, yet Emma felt the world around her shift subtly in this moment of connection. Jake leaned closer to her, a wistful look in his eyes. "You were amazing." Emma's heart fluttered at his compliment, but the reality of their earlier resolve tugged at her mind. They needed to dive deeper into the conversation waiting for them, yet the urgency of this moment felt monumental, pulling them into a different kind of intimacy. As the medics took over and the boy was lifted onto a gurney, Emma turned to Jake. "Can we talk now? Really talk?" The weight of their conversations loomed once again, both a hope and a fear. But before Jake could respond, she noticed something glinting on the ground near the boy, a silver locket half buried in the dirt. "Wait," she called, kneeling to pick it up. As she opened the locket, she gasped. Inside was a picture of the young boy with a woman who looked eerily familiar, and that revelation pulled her even deeper into a mystery she never expected to unravel. "Jake," she said, breath hitching once again, "I think this belongs to someone important. We need to find out who." The urgency hung thick in the air, and for the first time since stepping through the barn doors, Emma felt a spark of adventure ignite within her. What lay ahead threatened to bridge the past she remembered with the present still aching for mending. Would the truth they uncovered bring them together, or tear them apart once more? Emma's fingers trembled slightly as she held the locket, the cool metal warming against her palm. Her mind raced, matching the thud of her heart. Who was the woman? Why would this boy's locket feel so significant? "Let's take it to the boy's parents," Jake suggested, breaking through her swirling thoughts. "They might know whose it is." She nodded, adrenaline pushing her to her feet. Together, they dashed toward where the gurney rolled away, surrounded by medics and the concerned faces of festivalgoers. With each step, Emma's mind played out possibilities like a movie. The woman inside could embody forgotten memories, unresolved questions from her own past. But could they face consequences if they dug deeper? What if it led to answers that would rewrite everything she thought she knew? As they reached the medical tent, they pushed through the flurry of people, warm blankets being unwrapped, worried voices rising. The boy was already being checked, wincing slightly as a medic examined his ankle. His friends stood nearby, their wide eyes reflecting his pain and earnestness, worry hanging like storm clouds among them. "Excuse me," Emma called, catching the attention of a nearby adult who was pacing nervously. "We found this." She opened the locket, revealing the photos inside. The adult froze for a split second, a spark of recognition lighting their eyes. That's Lily," they whispered, glancing around nervously before stepping closer. Who is she?" Emma's voice fell to a hush, anxious curiosity mounting within her. "She's the boy's older sister," the adult explained, pointing toward the boy. "She went missing a few years back." It was their breath caught, haunted by emotion. It was really hard on the family. Emma felt a knot tighten in her chest, a mix of sorrow and intrigue spiraling within her. Jake's hand brushed against her back, a silent reminder of their shared mission. Whatever this turned into, they'd face it together. What happened? Jake asked, his voice steady despite the tension surrounding them. Just a tragic accident. She was out with friends near the lake on a warm summer night. They thought she was safe. The adult's face clouded with grief, and Emma's heart sank. We never found her. Breathless silence hung in the air like fog. The laughter and music of the festival faded into the background, replaced by the reality of the family still grappling with their loss. Emma exchanged a worried glance with Jake. This was bigger than either of them anticipated. Was the locket a sign? A connection to a past that craved resolution? We have to find her, she said, her voice firm although uncertainty echoed within. If she's out there, what if she isn't? Jake interjected, concern etched across his brow. What if we're opening old wounds? We owe it to the boy, to the family, Emma replied, the resolve deepening in her soul. It could bring them peace. Suddenly, the boy's face, pale and still trembling from pain, caught her attention. He overheard their conversation, and a glimmer of hope sparkled in his teary eyes. Do you really think she could still be out there? He asked softly, clutching the edge of the gurney. The question hung heavy, reverberating with the weight of what they might uncover. Emma swallowed hard. I don't know, but we have to try. With that determination settling into her heart, Emma felt that familiar thrill of adventure course through her again, igniting the flicker of hope she thought was extinguished. Just as she was about to comfort the boy, a strange noise interrupted muffled voices and commotion outside the tent. What's happening? Jake murmured, concern creeping back into his voice. As they turned, the door flew open. Panic washed over the crowd as a frantic parent rushed in, breathless and wide-eyed. Please, they cried. There's been an accident at the lake. Emma exchanged a puzzled glance with Jake, dread pooling at the pit of her stomach. They were standing on the edge of something monumental, and it might all unravel in the moments to come. Come on, Emma said, her voice urgent. We need to help. But as they stepped toward the chaos outside, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover far more than they bargained for. Would they be brave enough to face what lay ahead? The moment Emma stepped out of the medical tent, the air shifted around her, heavy with fear and confusion. Distant shouts mixed with the sounds of rushing footsteps. Sunlight cast frantic shadows as people ran toward the lake, their worries palpable, a collective heartbeat echoing the unsteady pounding of Emma's own heart. Did you hear that? Jake asked, scanning the crowd. His eyes were wide, reflecting the urgency of the unfolding situation. Ignoring the knot in her stomach, Emma pushed further into the chaos. She caught snippets of conversation, words like drowning, emergency, and quick. Each word pressed down heavier on her chest. The festival, once filled with laughter and joy, felt like a distant memory now. Over here. A voice called. A crowd of festival-goers was gathering by the edge of the lake, their faces tight with desperation. Emma's legs moved almost on their own as she followed the flow of people, her determination overriding her fear. There, half submerged in the water, a figure lay. An adult desperately clutched a young girl, appearing lifeless. The sight made Emma's breath hitch, and she could feel panic bubbling at the edges of her resolve. The girl appeared to be the same age as the boy they had just spoken to, and Emma's heart sank at the thought. Someone's got to do something. Jake shouted, his voice slicing through the rising chaos. He turned to Emma, his brow furrowed. We can't just stand here. Instinct kicked in. She had taken CPR classes, but would it even matter? Would she have the courage to act? We have to help her. Emma shouted back, turning toward the water. Suddenly, she felt a soft tug on her shirt. It was the boy from before, his face pale, eyes wide with terror. What's happening? Is that my sister? Realization hit Emma like a wave, dragging her under. The girl in the water was Lily. They were all connected in a way she had never anticipated. The locket, the missing sister, the boy's desperate plea, it all spiraled into one horrifying truth. "We're going to help her," she promised, doing her best to mask her own uncertainty. But how could she approach the water when her heart raced with doubt? Jake moved toward the edge, his voice steady. "We need to get the lifeguards." He gestured frantically, looking to the now gathering crowd. But Emma couldn't move. She locked eyes with the boy, who began to shake as tears streamed down his cheeks. As he took a step toward the water, something within Emma snapped. "No!" she yelled, grasping his shoulder. "You can't. It's too dangerous." The girl's life hung in the balance, and here they were on the brink of losing the only glimmer of hope they had. The boy's eyes reflected a storm of emotions: fear, confusion, and a desperate longing for his sister. Emma's heart broke even more. "We have to stay back and wait for help," she told him softly, her voice firm yet tender, hoping to give him the strength to wait. The boy nodded but wouldn't take his gaze off the water. Emma felt the shadows of despair loom large over them. Could they really save her? Then, amidst the chaos, a lifeguard finally charged into the water, moving with purpose. The crowd collectively held their breath as everyone's eyes turned. Emma whispered a silent prayer, her heart racing. Would this moment bring them closer to finding Lily? Or would it deepen their grief forever? As she watched the lifeguard dive under, tension crackled in the air, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next, and just then, a distant scream rang out from the crowd, drawing Emma's attention away from the water. Her heart pounded harder as she turned to see something else stirring in the gathering, something that could change everything they thought they knew. What was happening now? Emma turned, fear wrapping around her like a thick fog. The crowd surged with a new energy, a mix of curiosity and dread. It was as if everyone had jointly decided that whatever was happening was just as alarming as the scene by the lake. "What is going on?" Jake whispered, his voice tight with concern. "Look." Emma pointed toward a commotion breaking out at the edge of a nearby forest. A group of people was backing away from something on the ground. She saw a flash of dark hair. It was the boy from earlier, the one who had tried to reach the water. "Hey! That's him!" Jake shouted, pushing through the crowd. Emma hurried after him, her instincts screaming at her to reach the boy and find out what had happened. As they got closer, Emma's heart raced. There lay a figure, a man, one of the festival workers, clutching his side, gasping for breath. Blood soaked through his shirt. It was a horrific sight that sent chills cascading down Emma's spine. "Someone call for help. We need a medic now." Someone yelled, panic bubbling up in their voice. "Move back. Give him space." Another voice barked. Emma's world narrowed to the sight of the boy, his face a mixture of shock and confusion as he stood frozen. The crowd pulsed around them, everyone locked in their own fears, but all she could see was his despair. "Are you okay?" she asked softly, stepping closer to him. I don't know," he stammered. Tears filled his eyes, bright against his pallor. "They were supposed to be safe. All of us, this is a festival." His breath came in ragged gasps, and in that moment, Emma felt the weight of the world crash down on her. "It'll be okay," Emma said, uncertain if she believed the words herself. "Help is on the way. Just focus on breathing, okay?" It was the same soothing tone she had used when she'd been trained in first aid. But the boy's gaze remained fixed on the man whose life hung by a thread. What if he doesn't make it? Or what if? His voice trailed off, the fragility of hope laid bare. Emma's heart ached at his pain. "We're not giving up, right? We can't lose your sister and him too." Emma felt anger bubbling within her, not against him, but against the unfairness of it all. Here they were, surrounded by laughter just a day ago, and now everything felt shattered. Just then, the lifeguard emerged from the lake, dragging Lily's limp body. The world around them fell silent. The air felt charged, as if holding its breath. Every eye was fixed on the lifeguard as he laid Lily on the damp grass, starting CPR, pressing down hard and rhythmically, breaths punctuated by the desperate pleas of those watching. Come on, Emma whispered, feeling every ounce of the boy's despair merge with her own. Suddenly, a commotion to her right pulled her attention again. A woman rushed out of the crowd, Lily's mother. She screamed as she sank to her knees beside her daughter, wrenching sobs escaping her. Emma's heart broke further. The boy saw his mother's pain too, and with a longing echoing deep inside him, he took a step forward, but halted. Please, don't go, Emma urged, reaching for his hand. We need to stay together. For them. But as tension stretched in that moment, another piercing scream erupted. Emma turned, and her heart dropped. The festival wasn't just unraveling, it felt like it was spinning out of control. What new horror awaited them now? Could they face whatever was coming next? Emma felt the weight of the moment shift as another scream sliced through the air, sharp and piercing like glass shattering. The crowd, once buzzing with the sounds of laughter and celebration, now resonated with fear and confusion. Panic rippled through those gathered, and Emma's heart raced wildly. What is happening? Jake shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. She turned to the boy beside her, his eyes darted around, desperate and wild with every cry that echoed through the field. I need to find my sister. He yelled, pulling away from Emma's grasp. No, wait. You can't go alone. Emma called after him, but he was lost in the surge of bodies, swallowed by the despair that surrounded them. The lifeguard continued his efforts on Lily, while the medic team finally arrived, moving with urgency toward the bleeding man. Emma's breath grew shallow as she realized how completely helpless they all were. Lily. Wake up. Please. Lily's mother sobbed, her voice laden with anguish. Emma felt tears prick her eyes, the deep fissures of heartbreak cracking open as she witnessed a family's pain laid bare before her. God, please find her. She whispered to the universe, her heart aching as she watched the lifeguard work. Time dragged on, slow and painful. Then, just when Emma thought the darkness around them couldn't worsen, she saw a figure emerging from the shadows of the forest, a man, tall and intimidating, his face obscured. As he stepped closer, she felt her stomach twist. There was something not right about him. Get away from here. He shouted at the remaining crowd. Chaos ensued as people stumbled backward, trying to escape whatever threat he posed. Emma felt her hands grow cold, gripped in fear. Stop! Jake yelled, stepping forward, arms raised. What do you want? We're trying to help. But instead of backing down, the stranger's expression hardened. You think this is help? You're only making it worse. Emma saw wild intensity in his eyes, raw and dangerous. Talk to us. We can make this better. Jake pleaded, his voice steady, but Emma could see the tremor in his feet. The figure stepped forward, and Emma held her breath. A curse has come upon this festival, there are consequences to the magic that should never have been disturbed. Emma's head spun. What was he talking about? Magic? Curses? It felt like a twisted fairy tale gone awry. Leave while you can. He warned, desperation tainting his tone, but his eyes shifted to the crowd, a darkness overshadowing every word. Magic? Emma finally spoke, her heart pounding. What do you know about what is happening here? The stranger's gaze pierced through the crowd, locking onto Emma. It has awakened. It feeds on fear. You must scatter, or it will consume you all. Before Emma could react, he turned and disappeared into the trees, leaving behind a seismic wave of confusion and dread. Ignoring the chaos erupting once more, Emma's instinct kicked in. We have to find the boy. He's alone. And Lily needs us. A collective murmur surged through the crowd, a mix of disbelief and dread. Even amidst escalating chaos, another wave of fear and disbelief loomed over them. Could they truly fight against some ancient curse? As Emma pulled Jake along with her, another thought pierced her mind: if they didn't confront whatever was coming, would they lose everything they fought to save? A strange chill gripped her heart. She had to know, was magic real, and would it tear them apart? Emma pushed through the crowd, her pulse thrumming in her ears. She scanned the sea of frightened faces, searching for the boy who had dashed away. "Jake, come on," she yelled, but he lagged behind, glancing nervously toward the chaos. "We should stop and regroup," he shouted back, his face pale. But Emma shook her head, determination filling her. "No. We have to find him now." She could feel the urgency clawing at her, a tight ball of fear lodged in her throat. As she moved forward, the scattered laughter of the festival felt like a ghostly echo. What had been a place of joy was now a nightmare. She gasped as a woman burst past her, clutching a child. "They're coming. We need to run." Emma's stomach dropped. Where's the boy? She questioned herself as she pushed on, desperation fueling her stride. Then, through the crowd, she caught a glimpse of a figure small, dark-haired, trembling. "Over there." She pointed, relief flooding her as she spotted the boy crouched behind a food stall, eyes wide and terrified. Without hesitation, she ran to him, kneeling beside him. "Hey. It's okay. We're here to help," Emma said, softening her tone, the warmth in her voice seeming to momentarily cut through the chaos. "Are they coming after me?" He stuttered, tears falling. "No. No one is coming after you," she assured him, pulling him close. "We're going to get out of here together." Just then, Jake reached them, breathless but alive. "Emma. We need to leave now," he urged, his eyes darting around as if expecting the worst. As they turned to make their escape, the stranger's warning echoed ominously in Emma's mind. Magic and curses. Could they really be facing something so dark? "Where do we go?" the boy asked, holding tightly to Emma's hand, seeking comfort amidst the tumult. Jake hesitated, glancing back toward the shadows of the trees, uncertainty etched on his face. "We need to find a safe place. We can't let it feed on our fear," he said, echoing the man's words. "But how?" Emma asked, her heart racing. Suddenly, a slow, chilling wind blew through the chaos, whipping the edges of their clothing. Emma shivered, the sensation crawling up her spine. The whispers of the crowd melded into a rumble, drowning the air in dread. I know somewhere." The boy spoke up, his voice surprisingly steady. "My mom told me stories. There's an old barn, just beyond the hill. It's supposed to be safe." Before Emma could respond, another scream pierced the night, drowning her thoughts in fear. She couldn't let anything happen to the boy, to Jake, or to Lily. "Show us," she urged, gripping the boy's hand tighter. "Follow me," he shouted, leading them away, weaving through the panic-stricken crowd. They pushed toward the edge of the festival, the path growing darker, the shadows thicker. The boy led the way, glancing back to check they were still behind him. The old barn stood silhouetted against the moonlight, a dark promise of refuge. But just as they neared, Emma paused. A low growl vibrated through the air, filling her with a bone-deep dread. What could be lurking in the shadows? "We have to be careful," she whispered to Jake. Maybe the curse knows we're coming." Jake nodded, face set in fierce determination. "No matter what happens, we stick together." The wind howled again, and with it, an unsettling sensation clutched at her heart. The boy looked back, eyes wide. "It's coming." In that moment, a chilling realization washed over Emma. They were not safe yet, and the battle was just beginning. "What happens if it gets us?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Then we can't let it take our fear," Jake affirmed, lifting his chin, ready to face the unknown together. But as the growl deepened, Emma's heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. Would they truly be able to face this ancient magic? She took a deep breath, preparing to step into the darkness, uncertainty gnawing at her. And what if, when they confronted the curse, their true fears revealed themselves? Emma pressed forward, hand clutching the boys tightly as they stepped into the shadow of the barn. The ancient structure loomed before them, its weathered wood creaking with secrets long stored away. The darkness inside felt palpable, thick like a fog, yet it offered an odd sense of safety compared to the chaos outside. "Do you think it knows we're here?" she whispered, a tremor in her voice. I hope not," the boy murmured, peering into the depths nervously. Jake moved ahead, his face set in grim determination. "We have to stay strong," he said. "Fear feeds whatever this is. Let us keep it behind us." As they stepped into the barn, the musty scent of hay filled the air, mingling with a comforting warmth. The shadows flickered, and for a moment, Emma saw shapes darting past, sending little jolts of fear dancing through her. "We need to find something to protect us," Jake urged, scanning the room. The boy nodded toward the far corner where old tools hung: a pitchfork, a rusted shovel. "We can use those." Emma's heart raced, partly from adrenaline and partly from the impending realization of what they faced. In the midst of all this turmoil, she squeezed the boy's hand and said, "We will figure this out together." Jake grabbed the pitchfork and placed it confidently in Emma's own hands. "This too. We can work together if something tries to come at us," he assured. It felt absurd, but the strange energy around them seemed to lift ever so slightly. Just as they secured themselves, a wind howled outside, rattling the barn walls. "What if the curse really is coming for us?" the boy whispered, eyes wide with fear. "Then we won't let it," Emma promised with as much conviction as she could muster. "Remember that strength you felt when we helped Lily? It's still with us." Jake looked between them, determination igniting in his gaze. "Exactly. We're not here to back down now. We've confronted fear before today. Remember the boy with the ankle injury? Karma is on our side." To emphasize his point, Emma instinctively raised the pitchfork as if it could ward off the shadows creeping closer. But then, the very air shifted, a chill sweeping through the barn. Emma felt a presence, unclear yet immensely powerful, seep into the very fabric of the space. "Stay close," Jake warned, stepping forward protectively. The boy clutched onto Emma, trembling. An ominous whisper surrounded them, swirling around like wind through leaves, almost echoing their fears back at them. "Run while you can." Emma's heart raced. The voice was as haunting as it was compelling. "We're not afraid," she shouted back, and suddenly, silence descended upon them. The shadows pulled back, creating an eerie moment of stillness. As they all stood transfixed, afraid to breathe or move, the space began to brighten. An ethereal glow illuminated where the shadows softened, revealing an image projected against the barn wall, vivid yet translucent. They saw Lily, the girl from before, caught in a moment of laughter. "She's alive?" the boy stammered, hope flickering in his eyes. Jake stepped forward, daring to reach out as if trying to touch the light. "This is a sign," he exclaimed, his voice reverberating with renewed energy. "She's calling for us." The shadows responded with anger, swirling around them, threatening to extinguish the light. "Fight against the fear," Emma urged, finally tapping into the courage brewing within her spirit. "We need to channel our love for those we care about. For our dreams." In that moment, they joined hands, Emma, Jake, and the boy. Their collective strength surged forth, creating a shield that pushed back against the chilling darkness. It was as if the love and hope they cultivated in each other infused their resolve. "Lily needs our help. Show us the way," they called together, voice resonating with an undeniable force. The shadow shrieked, battling against their unity but weakening under their combined energy. The light sparked brighter, illuminating their surroundings, and suddenly, the swirling dark began to fade. For the first time, Emma felt a sense of empowerment awaken. Here they were, standing on the cusp of overcoming their deepest fears. Trace her path. Emma called, her heart thrumming wildly. The barn walls shimmered, guiding them with a radiant light filtered through the chaos. We can bring her back. We can break this curse. With newfound determination, they set forth toward the flickering glow. They could feel the magic shifting, the curse weakening in the face of their bond. Whatever darkness awaited them was nothing compared to the strength of their love. As they moved closer to understanding, they realized that courage doesn't come from the absence of fear, but from taking action in its presence, a lesson so vital that it felt like a warm embrace. Just as they reached the threshold of the barn, a piercing scream erupted behind them, but they pressed forward, absorbing every ounce of hope they could muster. Emerging from the barn, they spotted Lily, her spirit shimmering like a mirage, and in that moment, they knew. Together, they could uplift not just their own dreams but allow Lily's spirit to transcend the sorrow she'd borne for so long. Emma stepped forward with conviction. They would fight for what mattered, for family, for love, for the life they deserved. "Let us go home," she whispered to Jake and the boy, and with every ounce of belief, they rushed toward their light-filled future, ready to break the chains of fear forever. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now. Hit that bell and mark all notifications so you never miss another story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. You won't regret it.